Right. So everyone's talking about this AI dubbing thing on YouTube, right? Making content globally accessible. But is it really all that? Let's take a deep dive and find out.
You know, it really is fascinating. This whole AI dubbing thing is really interesting because of the tech behind it. It's Google's WaveNet, but it's
Yeah.
not like some, all-knowing AI is just creating these dubs. It's more of a sophisticated tool,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would say.
So more like a mimic than an actual translator.
Exactly. Like imagine a computer program
Yeah.
that can just listen to tons and tons of audio and learns how we speak in
Mm.
different languages with all the accents and, intonations, and then uses all that knowledge to recreate speech practically from scratch.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it like predicts each little sound based on what came before it.
So how does that apply to dubbing then?
Well, it's the ability to learn and then mimic these little nuances of human speech that makes WaveNet really powerful for dubbing because it can go beyond just, translating the words.
Yep.
It tries to capture how those words are spoken, like the emotional tone
Oh,
and even subtle inflections.
so it's not just putting words, from one language to another. It's like recreating the whole audio experience.
That's the goal. And, theoretically, it could make any video sound like it was spoken in whatever language you want,
Right.
which opens up so many possibilities for creators and viewers. Everyone.
Okay. So you're saying someone making videos, like some, independent creator or small business could just reach a global audience. Yeah. Without needing, these expensive services and everything.
Exactly. That's the promise of it. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Imagine if language wasn't a barrier for anyone to access information or entertainment or educational content.
Yeah. No, that sounds pretty amazing.
Sure.
But okay, so if it's so great, then how come all these professional voice actors are kind of worried about it? I've heard, especially in France.
That is a great question. And it kind of gets to the heart of the whole debate about, AI and creative jobs and stuff, because you're right, the potential's huge. But there are real concerns, especially, how it could impact people who do voice acting for a living.
Right. So is it really all, sunshine and rainbows with this tech, or are there some downsides?
Well, realistically, you have to remember it's still really early, and there have been some reports of, quality issues
Yeah.
with these AI dubs. Some people are saying the dialogue just sounds robotic or like it's missing that, human touch.
So even though the tech is impressive, it's still not quite there when it comes to all the complexities of language.
Exactly. Language is so much more than just words on a page.
Right.
It's about context and all the cultural nuances and humor, like even how different people just express themselves.
Uh-huh.
These are all things that are really hard for AI to understand, at least right now.
Yeah.
I get that.
Difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where professional voice actors are coming from, especially in countries like France, where, dubbing is a big thing.
Right.
For them, it's not just about translating, it's a skill, like an art form they've spent years learning.
Yeah, so they're not just worried about losing their jobs to robots. They're saying, like, a whole art form could disappear.
Exactly. They say that AI, even something as good as WaveNet,
Right.
can't really capture what a human voice actor brings to the table. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
A good dubbing artist doesn't just, say the words in a different language.
Uh-huh.
They become the character, right? They bring all those emotions and make it believable to a new audience.
Yeah. It's like if you just read a translation of a poem, it's not the same as hearing it read by someone who really gets it.
That's such a good way to put it. And it shows how AI just can't get all those little nuances that make human communication so, rich and complex.
Yeah.
There was this article on juxvideo.com where people were talking about their experiences with YouTube's AI dubbing. Yeah, and so many were complaining that the voices were just flat and boring.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have any emotion. And sometimes the jokes didn't even land, right?
Right, because timing is so important for comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is especially important, in a place like France,
Right.
where they have really high standards for dubbing. Their voice actors are amazing, so you can see why they're worried about how AI could affect their work.
Yeah, totally. Like in any job where tech is starting to automate things,
Mhm.
there's always going to be concern about, machines replacing people.
Exactly. And it's bigger than just the dubbing industry. It's happening everywhere. Like we're seeing AI write music,
Wow.
create art, even write movie scripts.
Really?
It's wild.
So is everyone freaking out about this, or is there any good news?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's all doom and gloom. Some people definitely see it as a threat, but others see it as a new tool that could help us be even more creative.
So could AI actually help voice actors instead of putting them out of work?
Absolutely. Like, imagine if AI could handle the technical stuff.
Like what?
like syncing the audio to lip movements or doing the first round of translations. That would free up voice actors to focus on what they do best.
You mean like really bringing those characters to life?
Exactly.
That's actually a really cool way to think about it. It's not about AI versus humans. It's about, working together.
Exactly. And it could even create new opportunities. Like, think about it. AI could make it easier to dub content into tons of different languages,
Right.
even ones that don't have a lot of speakers. So creators would reach a bigger audience.
Yeah.
Viewers would have more to watch, and voice actors who specialize in those rarer languages would have more work.
That's amazing.
Right. Everyone wins.
Everyone wins. But what about the quality, though? Could AI ever be as good as, a professional voice actor?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And I think it's too early to say for sure. But it does make you think about what makes a performance great.
Mm.
Is it about being technically perfect, about conveying emotion,
Right.
or being culturally sensitive? Or is it all of those things together?
Yeah, it really makes you think about the whole creative process in a different way.
Totally. And that's why I think it's so important to talk about all of this.
Yeah?
It's not about being scared of the future, right? It's about figuring out how we can use AI in these creative fields. There was this guy, Philippe Waterloos,
Uh-huh.
and he was messing around with Google's AI, trying to get it to do like specific accents, like someone from Marseille or Quebec.
Oh, wow.
And it just didn't really work.
Really? So even though AI can learn and copy how people talk,
Yeah,
it can't do those little accent things.
exactly. It just shows you how complicated language is.
Yeah.
And that AI still struggles with all those regional differences that make, each person's speech unique. And this is a big deal for dubbing,
Right.
especially somewhere like France where, accents are a big part of their culture.
I see what you mean. If the AI can't get the accent right, then the dubbing just sounds fake.
Yeah, and even offensive to some people. And it makes you wonder about how culturally sensitive these AI systems are.
Yeah.
Can they really understand a culture well enough to make a dub that feels authentic and respectful? Or will we always need a human to, make sure it captures the spirit of the original?
This has been a really interesting look into AI dubbing.
Yeah.
It's made me realize that it's not just about translating words.
Yeah.
It's about understanding culture and emotions and, the whole performance aspect.
Absolutely. And it's something we need to keep thinking about as this technology keeps changing. It's powerful, but we need to use it carefully. Understand both what it's good at and what it's not.
Okay, so as a viewer, what should I be looking for when I watch AI dubbed content? How could I tell if it's good?
That's a great question. Well, pay attention to how the voice acting sounds.
Okay.
Does it sound natural? Does it draw you in? Does it capture the emotions of the original performance?
Yeah.
And think about the cultural side of things. Does it feel real and true to the story and the characters?
That's great advice. So what about the future? What do you think will happen with this technology?
Well, I think we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg with what AI can do in creative areas.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we might even see dubbing systems that can capture those little nuances of language and performance even better.
Right.
And maybe as it gets better, we'll find new ways for AI and humans to work together and create stuff that's really new and culturally rich.
Yeah, that would be cool. It's not about AI taking over.
Right.
It's about finding ways to work together to make something even better.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a really fascinating deep dive into AI dubbing.
It really has.
I think we've all learned something new today, and hopefully this will make everyone want to explore how technology is changing our world.
Definitely. And the conversation is just starting. As AI continues to grow, we need to keep asking those big questions about its role in creativity and how we can make sure that we're using its power in the right way while also, making sure that we don't lose the art and the human element that make these professions so special.
Totally. Thanks for joining us today on this deep dive into the world of AI dubbing.
My pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed it and that you'll stick around for more exciting discussions on the future of tech and culture.